message. The future is not set.
I just want to say, probably one of the biggest professional lies ever told was that your work will speak for itself. So if you came here today to learn about branding, that's what we're going to talk about. In my day job, I'm a fractional CMO. I do marketing primarily for manufacturing organizations. But today we're going to flip that on the script a little bit, and we're going to talk about how to do personal branding. I'm really excited to be here. As I said, I'm learning a lot. I don't know that much about technology. One of my primary motivations to wanting to be here today, in all transparency, is so that I could bring my son along, because he is loving this conference. It is so fun. Okay, we're going to talk about personal branding, how you can unlock your career growth. I kind of want to get an idea of who I have with me in the room. How many students do we have? Okay. How many are actively looking for employment? Okay, and how many entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs? Okay, we've got a really nice mix, good. Okay, well, it's my goal for you today that if you just find one thing, not everything is going to apply to everyone because you're in a variety of situations, but if you can find one thing that you can take with you and apply, then I'll feel like I've done my job, and hopefully you'll feel like your time was well spent today. I don't know if you're familiar with Thomas Edison and his interview process. Has anyone heard about what he did, what he put? Oh, you look like you know. Yeah, it was rigorous. He had like 150 question tests that he would put people through. They had to be able to answer things that proved that they were very intelligent. Obviously, that was something that was important to him. But one test in particular that stood out to me was his salt test. He would serve people soup and notice whether they seasoned it before they ate it. Do you do that? Thank you. My son, when I was sharing this earlier, he goes, yeah, Dad would put ranch dressing in it first. But the reason Edison had that test is because he wanted people who were critical thinkers, who didn't make assumptions, who would look for the evidence first and then make a decision. So that's what we're going to do today. We are going to taste this soup. We are going to evaluate where are we right now, and we're going to see how we can improve our personal brand. So I've got 3 primary steps for you, and we're going to start with that evaluation phase. Then we're going to move into how can we actually improve it, and then how can we communicate the message that we want other people to know. Okay? Before we get any further, what I'd like to hear from you, with a variety of backgrounds that we have here today too, is why does it matter? Why does your personal brand matter? Feel free to shout it out if you have a thought on this. Please.
Job security.
Job security. Good one. Yes. Something else. I'd love to hear from someone who's looking for a job or a student. Yeah. Networking. Yes, thank you. I want one more. Money. Yeah, thank you. Money. Okay. So a lot of different variables that fit into that personal brand. I had a gentleman, one of the vendors today, when we were talking about this session, he said, well, what if you're not on like social media? And I appreciate George mentioned it in the previous session right here in this room, if you caught that. He talked about the importance of networking and relationships. That is still first. All of this extra stuff is icing. It's bonus. The relationships are definitely the most important. The networking is definitely the most important. This is just an extension. When we talk about how we can have a personal digital brand, that's simply an extension of all those other things that you're already doing. And again, don't feel like you have to or can do all the things. What's reasonable for you? And who is your audience? If you're a student, if you're looking for a job, or if you're starting a business, your personal branding objectives are going to be different depending on what your goal is. So think about that for a minute. How do I want to be known? How do I want to be perceived in the market? And then we're going to evaluate. Now, I've done sessions like this before. Just a few weeks ago, I did one in Appleton to a women's management group. And when we talked about this evaluation stage, I had to say things like, okay, open up your incognito browser. No, right click. Right click. So I'm guessing I'm at a different caliber of audience here today. So when I talk about evaluating, I would like to hear from you in the room as well. So in this evaluation phase, I'm often telling people, do a Google search. Check out for yourself. How do you show up? What's your LinkedIn look like? What about in this group? Is there something in particular that you would check to see what your reputation is, what your visibility is? Is there a network or a website that you would go to see where's my standing? Did you have a thought? Don't itch. Don't itch. I thought you were raising your hand. Yeah. Where would you go? What if you were making the hiring decision? Where would you go to check out somebody who you were considering adding to your team? How would you check their reputation? Yeah, of course. Social media. Something else? Would you call their references? Please call their references. Please. Yeah. So interesting, though, that social media is the first thing because it's accessible and it's easy. But if we are in that position where we're thinking about a personal brand for getting a job, for getting a promotion, for starting a business, to be a thought leader in our field, are we presenting the image that aligns with how we want to be perceived? So the very first stage, I encourage you, is to take a little time to do that evaluation. See how you show up. Now, my name is Terra L. Fletcher. Fletcher is a pretty common name. So that means I have to work a little bit harder, potentially, to get the visibility that I would want to have. I had to beat out some woman who did museum displays. Sorry, Terra Fletcher, this one won. But it takes some work. It takes some work to build that visibility online. But the first step is you have to know where your starting point is. Is there stuff that you need to clean up? If people are going to your social media, if they look at even the public version of your social media, will they see stuff they don't want to see from a hiring or professional perspective? I had to scroll a little bit, but I found a picture on Facebook from years ago that I didn't realize was public. Had to hide that one. What about the image page? Have you clicked on that? What does that look like? What shows up? Another thing I like to recommend, and this is a good place to do this, safe space, find someone else here and have them look you up. Have them see what they can find. Because obviously they're going to have different results than you are. People in the management women group were really surprised to understand that not everyone's Google results were the same. Okay, yeah, you understand. Have someone else search you and have them show you what they see. So this is at evaluation phase. What questions do you have on this part of the process? We're solid. Okay. Let's get into what we can do to potentially improve our personal brand and our digital presence. We're going to spend a little time thinking about what do I want to be known for? What is that message? If you meet someone, here is a great place to try that out. Maybe somebody has already asked you that question today. I've been asked that question. Well, how would you say what you do? How would you describe what you do? And they expect a short little nutshell, right? Just a little clip. Do you have one? Can you succinctly say what you offer, what you do that's special, what you do that's unique, when there's so many other people like you? Does anyone have a good elevator phrase, a good tagline that they'd like to share? I'd love to hear yours if you've got a short one for me. Experience pays dividends? Nice, thank you. Good. Anyone else? Okay, something to think about. Focus your message. If you study marketing, which is what I do all day long, I do marketing, a lot of times in the marketing world, they'll talk about unique value propositions and unique sales propositions and elevator pitches and all those things, but you can do something similar for yourself to figure out what is important to you, what is the message that you want to get out there to the world. And one of the things that I think about when I think about why this messaging is so important is so that we can enjoy our work. I had one of those jobs that I didn't choose, but I just kind of fell into, that didn't feel good, that didn't work for me, that didn't work for my family. And I would spend a lot of time staring out the window going, what the heck am I doing here? And it was because it didn't align with who I was. The job didn't align with my personal mission and vision and values and goals and the way that I wanted to balance my life. If you heard me last night talking about work-life balance, I do not work 120 hours a week. I never have and I never will. What is it that you need? What can you provide? That's the kind of sentence we need to put together. When you have that well in mind, the other thing you want to think about is clean up anything that doesn't fit that. So maybe it's like me, maybe it's an old Facebook picture that you don't want public, or maybe it's a previous line of work. Maybe you had a big shift or a big change, and it's just not who you are anymore. Bury that. Whether it's take it down or put more good stuff on top of it, so that's what they see first. You won't find on my history my hand modeling career. Yes, that's right. Hand modeling. I didn't put that on my LinkedIn. It was a great job. It was tons of fun. But it doesn't fit with what I want to be seen and known as today. So what does your presence look like? How can you clean it up? Here's a couple ideas for that focused message. Here's one option. I build tools that help cybersecurity teams detect threats faster and respond smarter. Okay, I had AI write this one because I don't know what you guys actually do, but here's an idea. And then why does it matter? That's the other part of this story. You've got your short little phrase, your elevator pitch, your headline, your bio, your USP, your UVP, whatever you want to call it. But then what about this part? Why it matters. In this case, I put every second counts during a cyber attack, faster detection and smarter response protect critical systems data and reputations. Okay, so that's a good start on the what and the why it matters to the client. For those of you who are comfortable and ready to do so, I would encourage you to take this even a step further and work in a part of you. Because otherwise, this could be several people in this room, I'm guessing. What makes it special to you? The how you do it, the why you do it, or the for whom you help. For whom? For who? For whom? I'm really good at grammar and spelling until I get up here. Grandma would be so disappointed. Focus your message. And then make sure that that's the message that you're sharing, which we'll get into in our third part today. So here's my challenge to you. And I don't have a lot of authority to give you homework, and I'm not going to check your notes. But if I were to give you homework, this is what it would be. Work on that one sentence. Work on a sentence that defines what you do and why it matters. Bonus points if you can make it truly personal to you. Okay. Step 3. All right. We've spent a little time. We know how we want to be seen. We've got an idea of what we need to clean up and where we want to show up, how we want people to see us. Maybe we've recognized an opportunity that there isn't enough content out there that says who we are. Now, I don't have to tell this room how to potentially create a website if you need to do that. I'm sure a lot of you could do that, or there's someone else in the room who can help you. I don't need to tell you how to start a social media account. Where you post is up to you, but communication is important. The first step to communicate is not just to walk in the room and start talking about yourself. It would be weird if we did that. The first thing we do is listen. We listen. We see, what are other people talking about? What's happening in this conversation? What do I have to contribute? That's part of this gathering phase. So the gathering phase, the other part of it is also, what do I have to contribute? What value can I bring to the conversation that is already taking place? So that gathering, there's brainstorming going there. There's maybe having some conversations with ChatGPT. One question that I asked it recently, it was really fun, was, what do you know about me that I probably haven't realized about myself yet? It put me in an interesting little nutshell. It was like, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. That is true. Because sometimes we don't realize. We think what we've done, when we keep going forward and stretching forward and forward and forward, and that's me at least, that's what I do. And I forget to go, oh, hey, I did do something pretty cool back there. Let people know. So take inventory of the things that you have done and then communicate that information, but add to the conversation. Don't control it. In marketing, I tell people, you can't just walk in and say, sale, 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 buy, buy, buy. That's not going to work, and nobody likes it. So don't do the same thing. Think about how you can add value to the conversation. And I struggle with that a little bit because a lot of my posts are just me like on a stage. Yeah. I'm going to keep working on it too. What else can you do? Ask your peers. Ask mentors or collaborators. What are the strengths that they see in you? What are the projects that you've done that they thought were noteworthy? Bonus points if they share it. Do you have current up-to-date recommendations? Do you have references? So if you are looking for a job, you are looking for a promotion, you are actively recruiting new clients, whatever it is, do you have references that you can share? And do you have current recommendations? This is a good place to drum them up. Work with people you've connected with in the past. George in his session earlier was talking about contract work. I have one contract client who I've been working with for nearly a decade. And I realized at one point, like, I never asked him to write me a recommendation. I think he's happy with my work. It's been a decade. So of course it was easy to ask, but I never asked. Communicate and share that information. So you know where you want to be. You've gathered all this good stuff, and now we're going to put it out there. What unique perspective do you have? What lessons have you learned from those projects? What have you solved? What are you proud of? What have you done since you were here last year in that amount of time? Think about that. I thought about that when I saw another speaker that I met here last year. I saw him and I thought, wow, I haven't seen him in a year. So what have you done in the last year? Let's catch up. Do you know what you would say if you were asked that question? Do you have a project that you're proud of? Do you have something that you can tell people? I did this really cool thing. You probably do. We just tend not to put it out there. But the time to do it is when you're looking for that job, when you're looking for that promotion, when you need new clients. People have to be able to check you out. They have to be able to see your digital presence. They have to see your website. They have to see your social media. They have to talk to people you've worked with. I know in my experience, I started my business in 2007, and I think about the times in which I needed work. Over the years, a lot of times that was the only time I found myself actively communicating what I was doing. It was when I needed work. So that led to inconsistent messaging. People would stop following me because I wasn't posting. So I guess my recommendation to you would be not to wait until you're in that spot, to be proactive in your communication. Now, I have shared with you, I gave a few of you books, but I also would like to share some more resources with the rest of you. I have an entire personal branding checklist and 5 chapters of my marketing book that are available to you through this survey. And you don't have to put your email address on it if you don't want to. You'll just get a downloadable PDF of that information. I don't need to explain to this room how a QR code works, but if you can't access it well from the back, feel free to come on up here and get closer so that it works. When you're done, put your phones down so that I know that you've completed it, because I have one more thing that I want to share with you after this before our time is up. 5 free chapters of the book and the personal branding checklist, just as a gift to you. I feel like I should play the Jeopardy song right now, like, see, and it's not a timed competition, but. This is Emily. I don't know Emily personally, but I highly recommend her TED Talk. Lessons learned from 10 years of push-ups. Emily does 100 push-ups a day, no matter what. Even if she's in the airport, she even said she did them in like a public restroom, I think. I mean, hopefully she's sanitized. Emily did not wake up one morning with those guns. She worked really hard for them. I know, because if you could just wake up the next morning with arms like that, I would be like, yes, I am in, sold. A year ago, I did a presentation at the University of Wisconsin-Madison for their social media conference, and I talked about Emily and her fantastic TED Talk. And I realized, you know, I should probably taste the soup myself. And I thought, I can't do 100 push-ups a day. That's just not reasonable for me. But I can do 5. So I decided last April that I was going to do 5 push-ups a day. And after a month, I felt stronger. After 2 months, I started doing 10. And this might be a coincidence, but I recently joined one of those ridiculous boot camp gyms. Thanks, Emily. The point is, you might not be able to devote a lot of time to your personal branding. It might feel overwhelming because we've talked about a lot of ideas in our short time together here today. But can you do 5? Can you do 5 minutes or 15 minutes a week to think about how you're presenting yourself in the market? I like to encourage people to make it part of their weekly routine. Monday morning marketing, great alliteration, easy to remember, set a timer for 15 minutes. I did it like we all set literal timers. Set a timer for 15 minutes and decide this is the time that I'm going to work on having a brand for me. I'm going to work on my presence and my visibility. So I know that you're going to taste the salt, taste the soup before you salt. You're going to taste the soup. You're going to evaluate. You're going to see where you're at. You're going to actively work to improve your reputation. You're going to communicate the message that is the right message for your audience that's unique to you. I encourage you to get started by simply picking one platform. Pick the one where your ideal audience is. Whoever that audience is, where are they? You can't be everywhere and do all the things for all the people. So pick one. Pick one, and then post one thing. And I mean like a real value-added thing, like a picture of me and all the things that you learned. Oh, no. Something that you did, something that makes you special, something that can help the people who you serve. And do it this week. I'll give you a calendar week. I know we're at the end of the week already. But I encourage you to work on building your personal brand. Taste the soup. You can be a tech influencer if you were there last night. It's my sash. That's right. No code, all influence, and you can too. Thank you.